All right. Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost Ravenstein, Dean Cullenberg, faculty, parents, and 2011 graduates of the College of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. Thank you for the honor of addressing you this morning in this very special place and at this very special time. As I drove to the university this morning, I realized that 50 years ago, right this moment, I was sitting in the middle of the football field at Berkeley in a sea of people dressed similarly to receive my degree. I can't believe how fast those 50 years passed. Please allow me to congratulate you on your doctorate degrees, your master's degrees, your bachelor's degrees, your magna cum laude and cum laude recognition. And now, let me tell you that it will be your capacity to take all that you have learned to the tasks lying ahead that will determine your legacy. And the question becomes, can you contribute? I would like to suggest that the single most important skill you must necessarily leave this campus with will be your communication skills. Certainly in my world of intercollegiate athletics, communication skills are the single most important skills of coaches. Can you send a message, and will the desired message arrive and be interpreted the way you so intended? Let me cite some examples of communication skills. Will Rogers, one of the greatest political sages and communicators this country has ever known, said, "Never squat while wearing your spurs." You'll get that when you hit the freeway. Hang in there, okay. Never slap a man who's chewing tobacco. Never kick a cow chip on a hot day. Always drink upstream from the herd. And finally, the quickest way to double your money is to fold it and put it back into your pocket. Bill Gates offered, "Be kind to nerds. They will be your boss one day." On this diverse campus, the challenges of communication skills are found daily. It is our capacity to deal with those challenges that allows our campus to flourish, to have the sensitivities for your fellow students who are learning English in many cases, and to welcome them to go ahead and make mistakes, and for us to become mentors and teachers and professors and true friends. Let me cite a very real life experience with respect to language. I was one of the first Americans to play international basketball, and I played for Real Madrid. And from my teammates and in the stores, I learned to speak Castilian Spanish. Years later, I was giving a clinic in Mexico City to their National Coaches Association. And I arrived at the Olympic training grounds there in Mexico City, and I had my coaching shirt, my whistle, and my shorts. I had my sneakers on, and I had all this material. The format was this: 10 days, 3 hours in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, all in Spanish. And so I was so fired up, and I walked into this huge, beautiful building where they had a gymnasium, and I walked in and there was a band, 100 strong in uniforms, playing music for El Alto Americano. And oh no. And there were people in 3-piece suits with medals and ribbons, and here I was with my skinny, hairy legs trying to make a good first impression. So we went into the gym, and there sat in front of me 385 men and women, the National Coaches Association of Mexico. And I really wanted to make a good first impression, so I made a mental note and changed the beginning of my presentation. And I'm going to work really hard here to avoid offending anyone who speaks Spanish. And so I took a deep breath and began with this philosophical dissertation about basketball. And I said, "La esencia de baloncesto es a pasar y," and I used a word that I had learned in Spain for catch. And so what I had just said to these people who were sitting on the edge of their seats, the essence of basketball is to pass and make love. And trust me, I'm being very kind in this translation. That's right. So everyone leaned forward in their seats, and I said, damn, I'm doing a good job of communicating. And then I said, un hombre debe tener la capacidad, el balón con dos manos. A man must have the capacity to make love to the ball with two hands. O con un mano, or with one hand. O con las manos atrás de su espalda, or with your hands behind your back. Now, two gals in the back row moved to the front row, and I got a standing ovation. Well, I went on entertaining these people in their language, and on the fourth day, I asked to take this priest who was taking notes to be distributed to all the clinic participants to lunch. And I told the waiter, keep his glass full of wine. I got to get him loosened up so I can find out what I've been saying. Well, he told me. I couldn't believe it. And so I went back in the afternoon session and I said, debo cambiar una cosa. I need to change something. La esencia de baloncesto es a pasar y recibir. The essence of basketball is to pass and receive. I changed my verb. Pero puedes hacer amor con el balón si quieres, but you can make love to the ball if you want to. Well, they knew that I knew what they had been knowing. And I continued to entertain for the 10 days, and when they were over, in typical Hispanic fashion, they gave me all these gifts at the end, and Antonio Vázquez Raña, the Olympic president of Mexico, said, Coach Morrison, would you do us the honor of coaching our team in in Montreal at the Olympic Games? And I said, I can't. I'm taking the Pac-10 All-Stars to a tournament in the Soviet Union, but I'm so honored. He said to me, you don't understand, Coach. We don't care if you win or not. We can't wait to see your practice sessions. That's real. That's real. And it's real in our world, and our ability to be patient with people who are trying to speak our language, who are willing to make an error. It behooves us to embrace them and to assist them, and we grow together in that process. Successful communication is not about agreement. It is about understanding. You stand in my shoes, and I stand in your shoes, and we can agree to disagree. Remember, in a communication involving disagreement, whoever yells first loses. And the loser usually walks away with resentment. There's a great definition of resentment by an Irish-American poet and actor, Malachi McCourt, who said, resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Amen. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Don't carry those 10 tons of bricks. Walk away and move on. Remember that you communicate a great deal through something as simple as your handshake. And when you come up on this stage and receive your diploma, give a firm handshake. Send a message that there's a real person who's going somewhere, who's confident, and knows what he or she is about. Look the person in the eye with whom you shake hands and hold on for 1 second longer. The message is clear, and it says something about you in that very critical first time that you get a chance to meet someone. In the world of athletics, each person is challenged to lead, and I do not believe you can lead others if you can't lead yourself. You've got to be able to answer these two questions. First, in 30 words or less, what is your definition of success? What is your definition of success? And the second question, one of the most compelling things that one human being can ask another, is what is it that you aspire to stand for as a human being? And then share it at least with one other human being, because when you go public, there is a degree of accountability. What is it that you aspire to stand for as a human being? With answers to those two questions, you can lead yourself. And your answers will change and evolve as you mature, grow, and gain more life experiences and wisdom. If your actions and words inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, become more, you are a leader. And I only wish he was here, because Chancellor White is that kind of leader, and we are so fortunate to have him here at our university. The key component to leadership and communication skills is knowing how to listen. We've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. And finally, we can learn from children. And I'd like to share a personal experience in closing with you. When I coached at USC, everyone wants a piece of your time. Cardinal and Gold, Trojan clubs, the media. It was rare that I could sit down and have dinner with my family, and when we did, I wanted to make it a great occasion. And it would last for 2 or 3 hours. And this particular evening, I had phoned home and said, have the kids there. I have a night at home at dinner. And my son and my daughter was there. And when we're done eating, I asked my children to tell me about their friends. You are who you hang out with. Someone once said, you are what you eat. That makes me a hamburger and a hot fudge sundae. But that's okay. But you are who you hang out with. And I wanted to know about my children's friends. And then I had them take me through each of their classes. And my daughter was a star. She's unbelievable what she was accomplishing and the people she was with. Now, my son was a different story. In fact, I took him out of one of the finest public schools in America and put him into a Catholic school. And I said, and we're not Catholic. But he was too social at that public school, and I thought there'd be a priest or a nun there to smack him with a ruler and get him squared away, a little discipline. All that happened is he became the single most social human being in the history of parochial education. But as he was telling me about his courses, he talked to me about his religion course. And I knew that the professor, the teacher, the priest in that class had captured my son the very first day he attended class, because the priest went to the window. It was warm and the window was open. And the priest put his hand out and a sparrow landed in his hand. And then the sparrow flew off, and my son was so taken with the non-threatening nature of this priest, he hung on every word he gave. And so my son proceeded to tell me about the lesson that day in class. And it was the difference between heaven and hell. And I said, really? What is hell like? And he said, hell is a place with blue skies and billowy clouds and green pastures with flowers and trees. And there is a banquet table set with the finest food and wine for kings and queens. And when people come to this table, they are normal in every regard except one. Their forearms are twice as long as normal. So when they take the food, they can't put it in their mouths. I said, yes, that's hell. I said, what is heaven like? And he said, blue skies and billowy clouds and green pastures with flowers and trees and a banquet table set with the finest food and wine for kings and queens. And when these people come to that table, they are normal in every regard except one. Their forearms are twice as long as normal. And when they take the food, they feed each other. Feed each other. Take care of each other. Care about each other. And if you think that this father learned from his son, you are 100% correct. Thank you and good luck.